Hello everyone, we are going to be looking at the widespread severe thunderstorm threat across portions of the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, parts of the upper Midwest, and the upper North Central. Right now we are looking at the severe thunderstorm outlook for today. So we do have 4 different slight risk areas, and these are all level 2s out of 5. So definitely some very widespread severe weather is going to be expected today. Let's start off over here in the north central part of the U.S. If you're in this more yellow shading area right here, that's including parts of the Dakotas, Wyoming, and Montana, you definitely could see some severe storms today. You do have a 5% risk for those tornadoes, so definitely I would be weather aware and cautious for today, since there's a decent risk for that tornado activity, but really not many tornadoes are going to be expected. Also, another slight risk area is going to be for portions of the Iowa and Minnesota area. Definitely could see a couple tornadoes late tonight within the line of storms that's supposed to move through there. Also, a slight risk down here, not much of a tornado threat for that one. And another slight risk for severe storms across portions of the Northeast. So all of these areas could experience some severe storms throughout today, and that's also including parts of the marginal risks, which is in the dark green color. That's a level 1 out of 5 for severe storms. Definitely, if you're in any of these dark green shades, you could definitely experience some isolated severe storms as well, but definitely not as intense as in these yellow regions. Here's the tornado risk, and we do have a 5% risk for tornadoes in 2 different areas across portions of Iowa and Minnesota, and also portions of North Dakota. If you're in these areas, you could experience a couple of tornadoes throughout today and tonight, so definitely be weather aware if you're in those areas. And a 2% risk for tornadoes across around those 5% risk regions. Now we can look at the hail risk here. Hail risk is pretty high across these regions, as well as you do have a significant risk, meaning you will see 2-inch plus size hail within those storms if those storms do approach that type of area. Up to golf ball size hail is going to be possible within those yellow shaded areas, and up to quarter size hail is going to be possible within those green shaded areas as well. Lastly, here's the wind risk, and we do have up to 60 mph gusts within all of those slight risk regions, as you can see right here in the Dakotas, north central part of the U.S., over here in Minnesota and Iowa, over here in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. You can also experience up to 60 mph gusts within those storms within that type of yellow region, and up to 40 mph gusts, which is pretty isolated in those storms in the green shaded areas there also. Now we can look at the weather models, including a future simulated radar for this severe weather. Alright, so right now we are looking at the future simulated radar. We're going to start in the region of where the slight risk is for portions of the Minnesota and Iowa area. So let's get into around Sunday at 6 p.m. and you start to see some developments in the northwestern part of Iowa. But you get it to late night, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. You really start to see this fire up here. And I probably won't be streaming this, since this is going to happen so late in the night tonight. And you can really see that Boeing segment right here. That's indicating there might be some very strong gusts that is going to be within this line of storms. And this is going to push forward as time moves on, and even expand its length and size for pretty much this whole area, which is pretty surprising here. It definitely could also be a possible derecho, especially for this part of the line, as you're seeing here. Could still see some damaging gusts, even though that precipitation has really calmed down. Could still see those damaging gusts within there, and that kind of pretty much disintegrates by the time it gets to the eastern part of Wisconsin. So definitely some pretty intense storms, especially this part right here. You really see how intense these storms are really going to be at 10 p.m. and you get to around 11 p.m., 12 a.m., and you're really seeing this The precipitation starts to weaken, but that doesn't mean the wind gusts within the storm is going to weaken. As you can see here, the precipitation has kind of weakened a bit, but you're still seeing some indication that there will be some pretty intense gusts that are going to be within this line of storms. Now we can look at the north central region here. Alright, so now we are looking at the future simulated radar for the north central US. We can move forward here and let's get over to around 3 or 4 p.m. This is around 4 p.m. As you can see here, some pretty intense storms are going to be without parts of North Dakota, as you're seeing there, as they do develop. And that's why there is a tornado watch in effect. We do have that 5% risk for tornadoes. So that you do have a tornado watch in effect for parts of North Dakota, maybe even South Dakota, the most northern parts of South Dakota, of course. So definitely, if you're in that tornado watch, definitely be well aware. This move, as time moves on, you get to around 10 p.m. now. Still some cells out that could have a tornado potential, as you still have that 5% risk for tornadoes. And you get it to around 11 p.m. Those storms are still going on, as you can see here. But that line of storms has really dissipated, as you can see. That really posed that tornado threat with that 5% risk. Still, that cluster of storms is moving, and as well in Minnesota, you could see some severe storms there as well. And you get into around, this will be around 4 a.m. as you can see, and those storms have really weakened. However, the HRRR and the NAM 3km model does show, well, the HRRR does show the line of storms developing way north of what was expected. But of course, the NAM 3km model could also be right about them developing down here in Iowa. So they could be developing up here or down here in Iowa. But as you can see, for the risks that are in place, you do have that slight risk over portions of the Minnesota and Iowa. So it literally could go either way here, as they have highlighted both areas in those risks. But they, like I said, if you're in this area, you could not even experience some severe storms, as the NAM 3km could be right about those storms developing down here, or the HRRR could be right around and developing up here. If you did enjoy this video, I would ask you to subscribe if you are new to the channel, and make sure to share this video with any friends or family that might be impacted by the severe storms. Anyways, stay safe.